The front cabin of the airplane felt calm and warm as it moved through the sky. Wide seats and soft lights made the space feel quiet and protected. A young boy named Leo sat beside his mother Mira near the window. He watched clouds move slowly and held a small toy plane tightly. His eyes were full of wonder and his body carried gentle, restless energy. Mira stayed close and kept one hand on his arm with care. She knew flying could feel strange to a small child. Her calm presence helped him feel safe. Other passengers rested quietly and enjoyed the peaceful journey. The flight felt ordinary and gentle in that moment. Mira had traveled many times and understood how to guide her child. She spoke softly and smiled when Leo asked small questions. Leo leaned forward to look down the aisle with curiosity. Uniformed staff moved back and forth with steady steps. The movement fascinated him and made him feel excited. He shifted in his seat and hugged his toy plane. Mira reminded him gently to stay close. Her voice carried patience and warmth. She believed calm moments shaped strong memories. Nothing seemed unusual to anyone nearby. A stewardess named Nina worked the front cabin that day. Her shift had started early and carried many challenges. Delays and difficult moments followed her since morning. Still she wore her uniform neatly and followed routine. She believed first class required perfect order and silence. Her steps were quick and her face looked tired. She checked seats and luggage with focused eyes. Inside her mind stress moved like a heavy weight. She tried to keep control over every detail. Rest felt far away from her thoughts. As Nina passed the row, Leo dropped his toy near the aisle. The small plane slid gently across the floor. Leo leaned forward trying to reach it carefully. Mira noticed and reached to guide him back. The moment was brief and quiet. But Nina had already turned around. Her tired mind reacted before her judgment. A sudden motion followed that should not have happened. The cabin felt still in an instant. Time seemed to slow for everyone nearby. Leo froze with wide eyes and held his breath. Mira pulled him close without hesitation. Her heart beat fast but her face stayed calm. Passengers looked up sensing the change in air. Silence filled the front cabin like a heavy blanket. Nina stepped back as shock spread through her body. She felt fear rise deep inside her. Her training echoed too late in her thoughts. She saw the child and realized her mistake. Regret hit her with full force. Leo did not cry loudly but his fear was clear. Mira held him firmly and whispered comfort. She chose control over anger in that moment. Her eyes moved across the cabin taking everything in. She saw concern on other faces. She felt the weight of responsibility as a mother. Her voice stayed steady and calm. She believed dignity mattered most right now. The boy slowly relaxed against her shoulder. Her calm helped him feel safe again. Nina tried to speak but words did not come. Her mouth felt dry and her hands shook. She wanted to explain but knew it was wrong. Guilt pressed heavily on her chest. She looked around and saw watching eyes. Fear of consequences filled her thoughts. She realized this moment could change everything. Her confidence faded into panic. She wished she could undo the action. But the moment had already passed. Mira stood slowly still holding Leo close. She asked for the lead attendant with a calm voice. There was no shouting or harsh tone. The request carried strength and clarity. Nearby passengers pressed call buttons quietly. Support filled the space without words. The lead attendant Rosa arrived with alert eyes. Mira explained the situation clearly and slowly. Rosa listened with full attention. Her face showed seriousness and respect. Rosa checked the seat list on her device. Her eyes paused as she read the family name. A subtle change passed through her expression. She looked at Leo and then at Mira again. Understanding grew deeper inside her. She knew this situation carried great importance. Procedure and care filled her thoughts. She promised the matter would be handled properly. The plane continued its path through the clouds. But for everyone in that cabin something had changed. The cabin stayed quiet after the lead attendant arrived. Passengers returned to their seats but kept watching with care. Mira sat down slowly and kept Leo close to her chest. Leo held his toy again and stayed silent. His small body leaned into his mother for safety. Mira breathed slowly to keep her calm strong. She knew every movement mattered now. Her focus stayed only on her child. The flight continued but felt very different. A heavy feeling rested in the air. Rosa asked Nina to step aside near the front. Her voice stayed professional and firm. Nina followed with weak steps and lowered eyes. Her hands trembled as she stood still. Rosa asked her to explain what happened. Nina spoke softly and admitted her mistake. She did not make excuses or raise her voice. Her words showed fear and regret. Rosa listened without interrupting. She understood the seriousness of the moment. Rosa returned to Mira with respect. She asked gently if Leo needed anything. Mira answered calmly and asked for space. She said her son needed peace and safety. Rosa agreed and arranged a quiet area nearby. Other staff members watched closely and stayed alert. Passengers whispered but did not interfere. The cabin crew moved with extra care. The atmosphere felt tense but controlled. Everyone sensed the weight of the situation. Mira focused on Leo and spoke softly to him. She told him stories about clouds and stars. Her voice helped steady his breathing. Leo listened and slowly relaxed again. His grip on the toy loosened. Mira felt proud of his strength. She knew children remembered emotions deeply. She wanted this moment to heal, not harm. Her calm became a shield around him. Love guided every choice she made. Nina stood alone near the galley. Her thoughts raced faster than the plane. She replayed the moment again and again. She knew training and pressure were no excuse. Fear of consequences filled her mind. She thought about her career and future. But more than that, she felt shame. She understood a line had been crossed. Tears filled her eyes but she held them back. She waited for the next instruction in silence. Rosa contacted the captain quietly. She shared the facts clearly and carefully. The captain listened and took the matter seriously. He asked for proper procedures to begin. Security staff were informed discreetly. The flight remained calm to avoid panic. Passengers were not told details. But authority moved behind the scenes. The crew followed protocol with precision. Every step was recorded and noted. Mira noticed subtle changes around her. Staff movements became slower and more respectful. She understood something larger was unfolding. Still she stayed focused on Leo only. She believed her role was to protect, not react. Anger stayed beneath the surface, controlled. She trusted the process and her own strength. Her posture stayed calm and steady. Other passengers watched her with respect. Her silence carried power without words. Leo looked up at his mother and smiled faintly. He asked if they were safe. Mira nodded and held his face gently. She told him everything was okay. That answer mattered more than anything else. Leo leaned back and watched the clouds again. The world felt quiet to him once more. Children lived in the present moment. Mira hoped that would protect his memory. Her heart softened at his resilience. Rosa returned and assured Mira support. She explained steps would be taken after landing. Mira listened and nodded without emotion. She appreciated clarity and honesty. She asked that Leo be treated with care. Rosa promised that would happen. The agreement felt mutual and respectful. Trust began to rebuild slowly. The flight moved closer to its destination. Time continued forward as always. Nina remained waiting, feeling exposed and small. She knew consequences were coming. But she also felt this moment could change her. She understood the need for help and rest. The weight of responsibility pressed on her deeply. She wished for a chance to make things right. The plane flew steadily through the sky. Inside it many lives felt quietly altered. Part 2 ended with waiting and reflection. The true impact was still yet to come. The flight moved forward through open sky carrying many quiet thoughts. The engines hummed softly like a distant breath. Passengers stayed in their seats but awareness stayed sharp. Mira remained still with Leo resting against her side. Her hand moved slowly through his hair in comfort. She watched his breathing and matched her own to it. Rosa walked back and forth near the front with careful steps. Her mind focused on order and responsibility. She reviewed procedures again and again silently. She understood the importance of calm handling. Every action now needed clarity and care. The crew followed her signals without question. The captain remained informed through secure channels. He trusted Rosa to manage the cabin space. He focused on safe travel and steady flight. Authority stayed quiet but active behind the scenes. Decisions formed slowly with full awareness. Nothing would be rushed or hidden. Mira noticed staff behavior shift gently. Voices stayed low and movements respectful. She felt a sense of control return slowly. Her focus stayed on Leo and his comfort. She believed safety began with presence. Her calm created a small circle of peace. Leo looked around and sensed change. He asked simple questions about clouds and wings. Mira answered with gentle stories and smiles. She avoided details that could confuse him. Children understood tone more than words. Her warmth helped him feel secure again. Other passengers exchanged quiet glances. Some felt concern while others felt respect. No one interrupted or demanded answers. They understood something serious had occurred. Silence became a form of support. The cabin stayed united through quiet awareness. Nina remained near the galley facing inward thoughts. Her body felt heavy with regret and fear. She replayed moments wishing for different choices. Training lessons echoed painfully inside her mind. She accepted that mistakes carried weight. Reflection filled her more than panic now. Rosa approached Nina again with steady presence. She asked her to sit and breathe slowly. Nina followed without resistance or words. Rosa reminded her to remain calm and honest. Support would follow, but accountability mattered. Nina nodded, understanding the gravity fully. Security staff remained discreet and distant. Their presence stayed unseen but ready. They respected the need for calm and privacy. No alarms or raised voices disrupted the space. Professional distance protected everyone involved. Order remained intact throughout the cabin. Mira sensed the quiet strength around her. She appreciated respect without attention. She felt seen without being exposed. Her trust in the process grew slowly. She believed dignity was being honored. That belief helped her remain composed. A message arrived quietly to Rosa confirming details. Passenger records revealed important connections. Rosa paused and read carefully. Understanding deepened with each line she saw. This situation reached far beyond the flight. Responsibility now carried greater meaning. Rosa looked toward Mira with renewed respect. She understood the importance of transparency. She approached slowly and spoke softly. She explained that leadership would be informed. Mira listened without visible reaction. She expected responsibility, not privilege. Mira thanked Rosa with a simple nod. Her words stayed measured and calm. She said her concern was her child only. No anger colored her tone. Strength showed itself through restraint. Respect moved quietly between them. Leo rested quietly now, watching clouds drift. His small world had already settled again. Children healed faster when held with care. Mira felt relief watching his calm return. She hoped memory would fade into comfort. Her heart softened with gratitude. Nina listened from a distance, hearing names and steps. Understanding began to form inside her. She realized the wider impact of her action. Fear mixed with acceptance and resolve. She knew change would be necessary. Growth often followed painful moments. The flight continued without disturbance. Time moved slowly but steadily forward. Everyone waited for landing and resolution. Thoughts remained heavy but controlled. The sky outside stayed bright and open. Inside the cabin, lessons were already forming. As the destination drew closer, clarity increased. Roles and responsibilities became clear to all. Calm handling preserved dignity and safety. Mira stayed strong and present throughout. Leo felt secure once more beside her. The next chapter waited quietly ahead. The plane touched the ground smoothly and rolled toward the gate. Movement returned to the cabin, but voices stayed low. Passengers remained seated as instructed by the crew. Mira held Leo close and waited patiently. Her posture stayed calm and firm. She focused on her child and nothing else. The moment felt heavy but controlled. Resolution felt close but not yet reached. Rosa spoke quietly with the captain through secure communication. Final steps were confirmed with care. Airport staff waited outside with clear instructions. Everything was planned to avoid attention. Professional handling remained the priority. The crew prepared to guide passengers calmly. No sudden actions were taken. Respect guided every movement. When the door opened, fresh air entered the cabin. Passengers were asked to remain seated briefly. Mira felt Leo relax as the plane stopped moving. She whispered reassurance and smiled gently. Leo trusted her calm completely. Outside the gate, a man waited with concern. His presence carried quiet authority. His eyes searched the cabin immediately. The man was Leo, Father Arun. He moved forward when given permission. His steps were steady and controlled. There was no anger on his face. Only concern and focus filled his expression. He knelt beside Mira and Leo. His voice was soft when he spoke. He asked only if Leo was safe. Leo nodded and held his father's hand. Mira explained the situation calmly. Her words stayed clear and factual. She avoided emotion and accusation. Arun listened without interruption. His attention stayed on his family. He thanked Mira for her strength. He hugged Leo with quiet care. Arun stood and looked toward Rosa. Their eyes met with understanding. Rosa explained the steps already taken. Arun listened and nodded slowly. He appreciated professionalism and honesty. He asked for a full report later. He made it clear fairness mattered most. Status would not shape decisions. Nina stood nearby, feeling small and exposed. Her eyes filled with tears she could not hide. She looked at Arun and waited. Arun approached her without raising his voice. He spoke calmly and clearly. He said responsibility mattered above all. Pressure was not an excuse. Growth required honesty and help. Nina listened and nodded with regret. She admitted she needed rest and support. Her voice trembled but stayed honest. She accepted accountability without defense. Arun acknowledged her words quietly. He said systems existed to prevent harm. When they failed, change was required. This moment would lead to review. Airport staff guided the family calmly. Other passengers were released quietly. No scenes were created or encouraged. Privacy remained protected for all. The situation was handled with dignity. Mira appreciated the calm resolution. Leo held both parents' hands. Safety wrapped around him again. Outside the gate, life moved as usual. But for those involved, something had shifted. Arun stayed with his family before leaving. He promised to follow through properly. Mira trusted his words and actions. Nina was guided toward support services. The crew completed their duties in silence. Reflection followed everyone quietly. Part 4 closed with responsibility and restraint. No voices were raised or gestures dramatic. Strength showed itself through calm action. Fairness replaced fear and panic. The flight ended, but lessons remained. Each person carried change forward. The final outcome still waited ahead. But the path toward it was set. Weeks passed after the flight, and life returned to its steady rhythm. Yet the memory of that day stayed alive inside many hearts. Mira focused on daily routines and gentle mornings with Leo. She watched him play, laugh, and forget heavy moments. Children healed through time and love more than words. Leo spoke of clouds and plains with joy again. Mira felt relief seeing fear fade from his eyes. She believed calm care had protected his spirit. Arun kept his promise and followed every detail closely. He met with leaders, trainers, and safety teams. He listened more than he spoke during long meetings. Stories from staff revealed hidden stress and exhaustion. He understood systems needed change, not blame. Leadership meant fixing roots, not hiding outcomes. New plans formed through honest discussion. Respect guided every decision forward. The airline announced updates with quiet confidence. Work schedules became balanced and humane. Support programs were added for emotional strain. Training focused on patience and awareness. Staff were encouraged to speak before stress broke control. Supervisors learned to watch signs of fatigue. Change moved slowly but with purpose. Trust began to rebuild inside the company. Nina entered counseling and training with humility. She faced her mistake with honesty and effort. Days were difficult, but growth slowly followed. She learned to pause, breathe, and ask for help. Her role changed, but dignity remained intact. She wrote a letter of apology to Mira. Not asking forgiveness but offering accountability. That step helped her begin again. Mira received updates and read them carefully. She felt heard without being placed on display. The letter from Nina touched her deeply. She saw pain but also responsibility in the words. Mira chose compassion without forgetting boundaries. She replied with clarity and grace. Healing came from understanding, not silence. Both women moved forward stronger. Leo returned to flying months later with excitement. He held his toy plane and waved at staff. Mira watched carefully, ready to protect if needed. But nothing went wrong and smiles felt genuine. Leo laughed as the plane lifted into the sky. Fear had been replaced by trust again. Small victories often carried great meaning. Mira felt peace watching him dream. Inside the company, the story became a quiet lesson. Not a rumor or headline but a reminder. Power did not excuse mistakes or hide truth. Responsibility began with the smallest moment. Respect for every passenger mattered deeply. Leaders spoke of empathy during training. The memory shaped future choices. Change lived in everyday actions. Part 5 closed not with drama but with growth. Lives moved forward shaped by one moment. Calm strength proved more powerful than fear. A child's safety became a shared responsibility. A company learned to listen and adapt. Mistakes led to reflection, not destruction. Respect became the lasting outcome. And the sky remained open for all journeys.